In the diagram, A, B, and C are 3 points on the Cartesian plane. Determine the coordinates of E if A, B, E, C is a parallelogram. We have been given the coordinates of 3 vertices. So the first thing we need to do is to get a general idea of where the 4th point lies. The parallelogram is called A, B, E, C. So on the diagram, you can see that we start at A, then we move in a clockwise direction to point B, then we move in a clockwise direction again to point E. We are moving in a clockwise direction, so we reach point E before we move on to point C. This means that our 4th vertex E must lie somewhere over here between point B and point C. So let's tidy this up and take out our arrows. The question tells us that ABEC is a parallelogram, and from our work on parallelograms in Euclidean geometry, we know that a parallelogram has 2 pairs of opposite sides that are equal and parallel. If E is up in the corner, we can see that AB will be one side of the parallelogram, which means that CE will be the opposite side. So we can draw it in over here. If E is in the top corner, then AC must be the 3rd side of the quadrilateral. Then we can draw BE up here. Let's draw our point up here. Now we don't know the coordinates of E, so we can simply say point E with coordinates x, y. Please remember that this diagram is not to scale. We are just using it to give us a general idea of what we're working with. ABEC is a parallelogram, so to find the coordinates of E, it is always a good idea to start with the diagonals. A is the first letter of the name, and E is the 3rd. So AE is a diagonal. B is the 2nd letter, and C is the 4th. So BC is a diagonal as well. Now, the most important thing to remember about parallelograms is that their diagonals bisect each other. This means that the diagonal lines have the same midpoint. On our diagram, let's draw our midpoint in blue, and we can call it M. Now, if M is the midpoint of AE, we can use it to find the coordinates of E. But to do this, we first need the coordinates of M. M is also the midpoint of B and C. We have the coordinates for both points. So let's use the midpoint formula to find the coordinates of M. Let's say that B is our first point and C is our second. So we can say the midpoint M is equal to 1 plus 6 over 2 for the x coordinate and 3 plus 5 over 2 for the second coordinate. For the first coordinate, 1 plus 6 gives us 7 over 2, and 3 plus 5 gives us 8 over 2. Now we can simplify the fractions. 7 over 2 cannot be simplified, so this is the x coordinate of M. 8 over 2 is actually 4, so this is the y coordinate of M. Now we can make some space and fill in the coordinates for M on the diagram. Because of space, I'm going to write these coordinates over here. We have just said that M is the midpoint of BC and of AE. So now we can use the coordinates of M and the coordinates of A to find the unknown coordinates of E. Let's start with the x coordinate. We know that the x coordinate of M, let's call it mx, is equal to the x coordinate of A, let's call it ax, plus the x coordinate of E, ex, all over 2. The x coordinate of M is 7 over 2, and we make this equal to the x-coordinate of A, 2, plus the x-coordinate of E, what we're trying to find, let's call it EX, all over 2. Now, to solve for the x-coordinate of E, let's multiply both sides by 2, and we get 7 is equal to 2 plus EX. To get the x-coordinate by itself, let's move this 2 across. So we subtract 2 from both sides, and we see that 5 is equal to EX. This is the x-coordinate of point E. And now let's find the y-coordinate. Let's call the y-coordinate of point M, My, and we know that it's equal to AY plus EY all over 2. The y-coordinate of M is 4, so we say 4 is equal to the y-coordinate of point A, -1, plus the y-coordinate of E, what we're trying to find, let's just say EY, all over 2. Now let's multiply both sides by 2, and we get 8 is equal to -1 plus EY. To get the y-coordinate by itself, let's add 1 to both sides, and we see that 9 is equal to EY. Now we see that point E has an x-coordinate of 5 and a y-coordinate of 9. So we can write down the coordinates as 5, 9. Let's do another example.